college AP poll releases their early preseason rankings. I'm talking Snubs on CFB Prime. I'm your host, Nino Brown. Shh, blow the damn whistle.
Some of you in the room right now, you are where you are. You're giving 60% when you have 120 in you. Why? Because you never made a decision. There's those of you in this room, you already there. Your problem is this is stuff you don't want to give up to go on. Listen to me, pound for pound, any agent in the room, pound for pound, motivational speaker, pound for pound, entrepreneur, pound for pound, athlete, pound for pound, weightlifter, pound for pound, whatever you do, I guarantee you when you do it, nobody can do it like you do it. The problem is you don't hardly do it.
We're back for another episode of CFB Prime. You know the deal. I'm Nino Brown. We'll be talking about some of these wild top 25 preseason rankings. I'm going to run you down the list. Then I'm going to give you a couple snubs that I think deserve be on the list and why. Right? Starting at 1, Georgia. 2 is Michigan. 3 is Ohio State. 4 is Alabama. And 5 is LSU. Nothing crazy there. I expect some of that. At 6, USC. 7, Penn State. 8, Florida State. 9, Clemson. And 10, rounding up the top 10, the Washington Huskies. Texas is at 11, Tennessee at 12, Notre Dame 13, Utah 14, my Oregon Ducks at 15, Kansas State 16, TCU at 17, Oregon State at 18, Wisconsin Badgers, a new head coach and new swag at 19, Oklahoma Sooners 20. It's a surprise, North Carolina at 21, Lane Train and Ole Miss at 22, Jimbo and Texas A&M at 23. Roll Wave, Tulane at 24. And under a new QB and Cade McNamara, Iowa Hawkeyes round out your top 25. Now, this should be some shuffling personally for me. We won't get into that. I'm going to let my guy, my partner, CFB Prime, KT, he's got a special episode coming for you guys breaking this down. I'm breaking down some snubs. And right off the rip for me is UTSA. How they don't crack the top 25, I don't know. Shout out to my guy, Jake Crane and Company. They got a right placement for UTSA. Got them in the top 15, where they belong. I believe turning of the man, you know what I'm talking about, Frank Harris, as well as, I know Zachary Franklin is going to move on to Ole Miss, but you're leaving a lot of voided targets, right? You're leaving 90-something voided receptions and 1,500 voided yards to Corian Clark and Josh Cephas. Combined, they had like 1,600 yards. You're looking about, I think it was 14 touchdowns. They both averaged over 11 yards per catch. Corian Clark's coming off an injury, but he averaged 14 yards per catch. And then they got Kavarian Bonds, who had close to 1,000 yards, 845, and 6 touchdowns. The man averaged 6 yards per carry. Okay, this offense is potent. 515 yards total last year, close to 37 points per game. Got him 14th out of 132 teams last year. They finished 11-3 with an 18-12 loss to Troy in the Cure Bowl. I mean, listen, Troy had an elite defense. They were a top 20 defense for much of the season last year. So the loss, I understand, shouldn't be, frowned upon. But the key to me, all right, they got the 90th ranked strength of schedule. So they should be good to go, all right? They're moving from Conference USA to the AAC. And I'm telling you right now, the only competition that they really got is Tulane. All right. You got a week 6 game at Tennessee. That's going to be a big one. And then they close out the year at Yeoman Stadium against the Tulane Green Wave. Listen, they're going to put up points. They got a defense that's going to be led by Bernardic Award watch list, Rashad Wisdom. All right. They got Nick Booker Brown as a DN, Nick Troy Fortune, and former Sam Houston DB, Cam Alexander in the secondary. Like, they got a solid defense They have a high-flying offense, and they're going to be in a new conference I think that they're going to take by storm. Frank Harris is bringing his 70% completion and almost, 4,100 yards passing. Never mind 600 yards rushing and 41 total touchdowns. He's coming back. He knows this is the last hurrah. All right. Head coach Jeff Trails, 30-10 at UTSA, and he just wants to keep stacking. And I believe they are the big snub this year in AP preseason top 25. Now, another snub for me, and I understand, it's still building, and they got the 14th toughest strength schedule. But Texas Tech Red Raiders and what head coach Joe McGuire is building, he's building a monster, okay? He's got a top recruiting class. I know that doesn't matter for the AP, but what he's doing is getting everything going. Zach Kelly as the offensive coordinator is chef's kiss. And then you got defensive coordinator Tim Rittler. All right, last year, that offense, 461 yards per game, 34.2 points per game, okay? They were 90% in the red zone, right? 161 rush yards per game. I understand there's moving parts, but you bring him back now healthy. He started week 1, got injured, closed out the season week 9 to 13 as a starter. Tyler, your QB, is back for 5th season, all right? What he did against big teams should show you on what he's about to take over in this year. Tyler Shock is about to take over for the Texas Tech, and he's about to be PO'd that the Red Raiders not ranked in the top 25. This kid, Jared Bradley at wide receiver, their defense is top-notch. They got snubbed. And they probably got snubbed because it was the 14th toughest schedule. I understand that. But it doesn't mean that they can't, step up to the podium and perform at the highest level, right? Now, next team that I think got snubbed, and I understand a little bit of the snubbage here because they got the number 1 toughest strength of schedule. But third year, Coach Shane Beamer, he got taken his top 20 recruiting class, South Carolina. And I think he's a little PO. He got a little chip on his shoulder, all right? Yes, the return of Spencer Rattler. Yes, Antoine Juice Wells is back, and he's getting a lot of hype, okay? Beamer's got the Gamecocks popular again. They averaged close to 31 points per game last year. That was 40th in the nation, all right? 263 pass yards. That had them in 33 out of 132 teams. The problem was they couldn't really run the ball. And I don't know necessarily who's going to be the catalyst at running the ball for them. Is it going to be DeCorian Joyner? Is it going to be Juju McDowell? Is it going to be Mario Anderson? Nobody knows at this point. So that needs to change, all right? And there needs to be some things worked out there. And OC Dowell Loggins, he's got to right the wrongs from last year. We need to run. We need to, take a little heat on Spencer Rattler. But they got weapons. Like I mentioned, they got Juice Wells. Trey Knox coming in from Arkansas, who has, Arkansas ties. The Loggins. And now this freshman, Josh Simon, that is just too damn good not to play. Spring game, he saw targets. He's been seeing targets and getting thrown at a lot by Rattler in practices and in fall ball now. So summer ball. I know. Number 1 toughest ranked schedule. You got a lot of moving parts on that defense. Who replaces Cam Smith? Who replaces Zach Pickens? I understand. I get it. Okay. And there's a lot of inexperience, right? You got the sophomore and DK Smith going to be as a free safety. You got Marcellus Dial, who was DB3. He's now DB1. So he's going to have to step up. And then you got O'Donnell Fortune is a junior. He's going to be, you're right, DB. So those guys who were, 3 and 4 now have to be 1 and 2. Nickelback, and I'm not talking about the band, David Spalding, he's healthy finally. And I think he's going to be the catalyst for this kind of secondary linebacker core. There's a lot of pieces to get in. I get it. I understand. A lot of moving parts, a lot of new faces. But Beamer's got him going in the right direction. And I really, really like that tight end room. I'm thinking, listen, Antoine Wells Jr. and Nick Cobb is there. Nick Cobb has been bulking up as a true freshman. I think they deserve a little more credit. And maybe not the top 25. Maybe it was 26 to 27. I don't know where they finished in the voting. But to me, I think they could. There's a couple of teams that lost just as much as they did. and they're still in the top 25. So I think they got snubbed. Now, another team that I think got snubbed, and it's only I say this because there was a lot of hype about this team. All right. Some people saying they can win the ACC. Some people saying that, Pat Nardizzi's got this pro style offense clicking, and, they got a lot of moving pieces that were gone, right? They brought in a wide receiver from Florida, Dejon Reynolds. They brought in Eagles former QB and Phil Jerkovich. So there's a lot of new faces there. Now, Izzy's gone. So Rodney Hammond Jr., who could be a breakout candidate, is there. I think they deserve a little bit more talk. I'm not a fan of Pitt, okay, in case you tell you. But I do like some of the people there. I like Hammond Jr. I think he could be a 1,000-yard back. I've been a big fan of Counter Mumpfield. I need him to take another step. Bub Means is a dude. I think those three receivers, Means, Reynolds, Mumpfield, I think those guys can elevate this offense. We need to see who's going to be these guys on the line. Who's going to solidify the position? Who's going to keep Jerkovich upright, okay? And then on the defensive side of the ball, I understand, right? You got to replace Savanka Dennis. You got to replace Kalijah Cansey. But you got a guy at middle linebacker who was rated the number 1 by PFF coverage linebacker in all college football, and that was Shane Simon. And when Dennis did get hurt and he needed to fill the role, he was able to get downhill and disrupt the passer and wreak some havoc in the backfield. So I think the defense is going to center around Simon, and I think they're in a good position. I think they need a little more respect. They ain't getting no respect. I'm not a guy that likes Pitt, but I'm giving them some respect, and I think they got snubbed. Arkansas. They got 2 guys that could possibly be day 1, day 2 picks on the offensive side of the ball, okay? And we know who that is. That is Rocket Raheem Sanders and KJ Jefferson. Now, I don't understand why people don't want to give love. KJ Jefferson, in the past 2 seasons, has consistently and statistically gotten better, okay? Now, they got a middle-of-the-pack strength of schedule, so it's not too crazy, all right? But they went out and addressed things. They needed a tight end. They went out and got Varkey's Gum, okay? They needed a wide receiver. They went out and got Andrew Armstrong, okay? Like, they're getting people. They're bringing people in to fill in the role. Now, he's coming from Texas A&M Commerce. I get it. They also brought in Isaac Tesla. I want to say his name wrong. I apologize. They got dudes, okay? They're bringing these dudes in. They got big up front. These guys average almost 200-something yards rushing between Sanders and Jefferson and whoever else ran the ball there. Listen, there needs to be a little bit more talk. Sanders is running around at like 242. You can barely pinch his skin, okay? He didn't lose any speed. He's ready to take on all these linebackers, DNs who think they got what it takes. A lot of new faces on the defensive side. They can be led by linebacker Antonio Greer, okay? He's coming over from USF. He's a dude. Trajan Jeffcoat is DN. Another transfer card's coming over. Missouri. Listen, they need more respect. I think that they were in the top 25 last year. They didn't really lose many pieces. They brought in a couple guys to make it a little easier for Jefferson and Sanders. I don't understand why they ain't getting no respect. Put some, like Rodney Dangerfield says, put some respect on my name. I can't get no respect. And then the last one. That was the last one. But I got another one that I want to talk about in this top 25. Now, I love Tulane. I'm a Green Wave guy. But you lose Dorian Williams. You lose Nick Anderson. You lose Tajay Spears. And you lose both of your starting wide receivers. Now, here is my point. I like them. Iowa is another one. So 24 and 25 are big question marks for me. And I think any one of these teams, if not UTSA or Texas Tech, belong in either 24 or 25, or maybe shuffle it around. But what I'm trying to tell you is there's snubs. What I'm trying to tell you is these people with these preseason awards, scouting helmets. They ain't scouting the players. Talent out there. It's coaching staffs. Strength of schedule. who they got to play. They are scouting helmets. I'm Nino Brown. This is CFB Prime. That's 5 snubs to deserve a little more respect. Now blow the damn whistle.